Hello, in this video we're going to show you how to replace your battery on an Acura NSX. We're also going to set it up where there's chapters in the videos so you could skip between the diagnosis part and the installation part. So let's go ahead and get started. So you get into your car and this is what you hear. Nothing. Well, most likely that's a dead battery. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and test our battery, and this is gonna tell us the condition of the charge in the battery. And this is the first test you should do using a digital multimeter. We're gonna put it on DC, and let's go ahead. We got our negative lead, which is black, and our positive lead, which is red. I'm gonna touch the terminals. I'm touching the terminal on the negative, and now touching the terminal on the positive, and I get 7.71 volts. And that is almost half of what this battery should have. So we know that the battery is low. Now you're probably wondering, well, is the battery bad or is the alternator not charging? And this is one of those times where you can take out the battery and have it tested at Advanced Auto Parts or AutoZone. But someone like me, I already know how to test it at home by doing a cranking test or a voltage drop. And essentially what you do is you pull the multimeter on the battery, and when you're cranking, you're gonna see how much voltage is gonna go down. The manual tells you that it should not go any less than 9.5 volts whenever you're cranking it. And if it's less than 9.5 volts, it's gone. So essentially what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be removing the battery. So let's go ahead and step into that. So before you replace your battery, you should also know about a parasitic draw. Like if you leave a light on, or if there's a new radio that wasn't wired correctly and it's on the hot wire and it's continuously on, what will happen is it'll drain the battery and it'll make it look like it's a dead battery, but in reality you have a parasitic draw. So just make sure that you test your battery and make sure that it is bad before you go and you replace it. So let's go ahead and start the installation by starting the removal. Now, if you look at the service manual, they only give you 3 steps. The first step is to remove the spare tire. The second step is disconnect both negative and positive cable. And the third step is remove the battery holder and take out the battery. So it's pretty straightforward, but we're gonna show you on video how it's done. In this situation, our spare tire is already out. We don't use it, we just stay in town, so it is out already. At this point in time, we're gonna get our tools and we're gonna go ahead and remove these brackets and anything that's in the way of getting the battery out. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this bolt up here using a 10mm. And these 4 nuts down below for the spare tire. And we're now gonna remove the spare tire holder. Gently pull it out. And we're now gonna remove the bracket that goes to the battery holder. I'm using a 10mm. I believe you don't have to take out the nuts all the way. You just have to unhook it. But let's go ahead and disconnect our terminals. I got a 10mm. And remove the negative cable first, slide it over, and now we're going to do the positive. I'm going to disconnect the positive cable, turning it left and right. It's unhooked. And now I'm going to move the battery over. I'm going to slide the battery out. I'm going to take a quick second for safety because I'm getting older. I replaced the battery on the GT4 and it's kind of the same setup for mid-engine cars. So this is a very heavy battery. And if you're leaning over, you could hurt yourself. So you need to make sure that you're careful. If you need help, you just make sure you want to take care of your back. Also, safety glasses. Should have been wearing these in the beginning, but now that I'm going to be handling the battery, I'm going to make sure I have them on. Okay, I have safety glasses and gloves, and there's actually a little tray with some handles, so that should make it a lot easier to pull it out. Let's do it. And our old battery's out. So at this point in time, I could actually smell a little bit of the sulfur. So we just want to be very careful, but essentially what we're going to do is we're going to try to take this battery out of this box. And look at this. This is about 5.5 years of stuff. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna dump this out in a trash can and wash this with some dish soap. And we're now gonna go ahead and place the battery in our box with the terminals facing the tall side. And now that we have the tray and the bottom clean, we're gonna go ahead and place this, again, being careful with your back. Okay, I've also left the caps on the terminals just so we don't touch anything until we're ready for installation. And we're now going to put this bracket on there, but we're going to make sure we test fit it. I'm going to slide the hooks over its respected areas. So we got the bracket placed in there, and at this point in time, I'm going to get the socket and I'm evenly going to tighten it down so the bracket is placed on there evenly. So the goal is not to over tighten this because you could warp it. You just want to make sure that it's snug and it's even. We're going to install the connectors as well. You want to make sure that you install them where it lets the cable relax the most. In case there's any movement, it's not going to be too tight. What I'm doing is I'm starting it with the socket and I'm going to come back with a wrench. An important note, if you place your hand here, you could actually hurt the plastic. So what I'm doing is I'm gently placing my hand on the body. I've got a wrench and I'm going to go ahead and tighten down the terminals. I'm not going to do it too tight, just until I get a nice stop and I feel a little bit of resistance, and then I stop. And then one of the last things you want to do is you want to make sure that this boot is over the positive terminal. And the reason why is because you don't want anything touching it that could short it out. And we're now going to put back the spare tire holder. And next we're going to put the screw for the top. I'm also not going to tighten it all the way down. I'm going to leave it a little bit loose. And what that does is that we want to make sure that everything fits in there correctly. With the socket, I'm going to go ahead and start these. I'm going to go ahead and do an X pattern. So at this point in time, they're all hand tight, and I'm going to come around with the ratchet. There's no torque specification, so I'm just going to do it snug. I remember how tight they were when I removed them. They weren't very tight, so. And installation is complete. Okay, let's see if she starts. All right, guys, I hope this video was helpful. If you did, hit the like button, hit that punch subscribe button. I'm getting all the words mixed up, but you know what, guys? I appreciate you watching. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.